My name is Michael and I create a YouTube channel called Boxmining. It's one of the top YouTube channels that's specific to the cryptocurrency scene. So I make videos about cryptocurrency news and also about different coins because I feel like there's a lot of interest in coins and also people want a very quick explanation of what's going on. So that's what Boxmining is really about. Sure, so with Boxmining, I started off as a passion project. So this really started early last year, so just before the whole cryptocurrency scene took off. This is because of my long-going interest in cryptocurrencies and also mining in particular. I actually started in 2012, but I didn't speak to anyone. And that was a big mistake. Not having a community to speak to was one of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. So then I started a channel. I said, why don't I just talk to other people about cryptocurrency, about blockchain, and start building a community and start just conversing about what's good, what's not, and what works. So now the channel's not just about mining, but it's all about cryptocurrency in general. And we started kind of building a team early this year, actually. So this year we started kind of building a team to kind of filter out the good projects, do more due diligence on it, and also try to get a reach to the team as well. So one thing that's quite special about my channel is not only am I interested and talk about it, but I always try to visit the teams responsible, visit the projects, and meet them up as real people. So that's what I really want to do in this space. So right now, the team is still relatively small. I started off by myself, and then I started expanding to around 4 people right now in terms of just research. So the research side is 4 people, and we also have a few kind of accountants, and we're trying to include a few more to help with the video production right now. So the vision started off with Bitcoin. So that was my original passion, the thing that I mined originally. It was all about this alternative currency. And it was crazy because when I first started, I kind of made all the mistakes anyone new in the scene would make. In fact, I saw a lot of newspaper articles when Bitcoin was around $15, and they said, well, Bitcoin's a bubble. You know, it just went from $10 to $15 in one day, and that's obviously too much. So I believed that, and I kind of sold a little bit, and I fell for a lot of this kind of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So that's when I first started, and I realized, I started realizing as Bitcoin grew, that's not true. There's a lot of value in having a decentralized currency, a decentralized store of value. So that's how I originally started and got into the space. But then last year, for me, it really just clicked. It's not just about a store of value, but also there's so many different ways to apply this trustless technology. So not just with storing value, but with computation as well. So that's when I really dug deep into Ethereum, the ability to create decentralized apps, the idea to really have a computation that's outside of anyone's control. I mean, that's so crazy if you think about it. We've never seen something like this before, to be able to execute even a smart contract and not having someone to kind of be an arbitrator or be an execution of the code. The whole community executes that code. So this is something that really inspired me last year. So last year I was like, wow, this idea of a decentralized world, decentralized application, and then that took me off to kind of explore the technologies that's going to allow this to happen. Because what we know is that there's not going to be one kind of way to do this anymore. We see there's more and more kind of ways to build decentralized trust, and so many new technologies blossoming up in this space. And that's what I'm really interested in. I'm really interested in just talking to the people, seeing what their vision is, seeing what their idea is, because I feel like this is where the next kind of Uber or the next Airbnb is going to happen. It's not with traditional financing or traditional world. This is a world where we can start building a product and the community at the same time. And I feel like this is something that's never explored before, and I'm super kind of enthusiastic about it. So for me, I take projects that I personally find interesting. I try to strike a balance between projects that are trying to look and raise for money, and also projects that are basically finished ICO or trying to launch a project. I believe for me, you must follow a project throughout its whole phase. So when I look at a project and I start at the funding, and then I want to follow it through and see what products they're delivering, what updates they're bringing, and what kind of value they're going to bring to the community. So I just try to strike a balance between everything here. So in terms of following up with projects, I usually start talking with the CEO, with their team, and then something that I kind of do is I actually fly and visit them as well. So sometimes if I really like a project and I really want to see, for example, if they're having a specific piece of hardware, then I want to see that hardware and maybe have a little bit and show the community as well. Oh, look, they're making this hardware, and give them a little sneak preview. If it's software, I want to visit their teams as well. So I visited teams in the past to see, and I think it's really important to talk to the employees, not just the CEOs, but talk to the team. See if they're really motivated. See if they really want to deliver a product and they share the vision that we were told they were have. So this idea of an influencer is very interesting because the industry wants to call us influencers, but we're actually really content creators. We want to think of servants of the community rather than the influencers of a community. So I've been saying when I created this YouTube channel, I grew with the community as well, and I want to give back as much as possible. So not only do I take projects and ask for projects what people want to cover, I also want to say, look, I'm going to go to this project and visit them. What questions do you want me to ask? What questions are you interested in? And giving that kind of, trying to make it feel like as if they're there as well. So in that sense, I don't think that our role here is just to bring like maybe funds to a project, but for the community to be the eyes of the community in terms of looking at projects and just making sure that they're delivering on the promise. So one of the unfortunate side effects of being one of the bigger YouTube channels is we get a lot of requests. So we can get up to 10 to almost 20 ICO requests or review requests a day. It's just a sheer amount of volume, and this is why we're starting to build a team to look at the different projects. So before I would do a community vote, so what we'll do is we'll have like a list of projects and then we'll randomly select 5 and get people to vote on what to do. But also I want to make sure that the good projects are filtered through as well. So right now I do have a team of around 4 people to look at the projects, and hopefully in the future what I want to do is I want people to start talking to different members of a project first and try to vet them to make sure that they're sincere on delivering on what they want to do instead of just simply trying to raise a bunch of money. I think it's a very fundamental understanding for these ICO projects that they just aren't looking for a cash grab. They have a vision to build a community for their own project as well, that they're using cryptocurrency and blockchain technology in the right way. It's not just a simple database, it's much more than that. And that's one of the simple questions I can use to vet out the bad projects. So this is a really, so in terms of what I value in a project, I think the team matters a lot. So the team needs to have experience in delivering something. They need to have the background and understanding in blockchain as well. So if it's a very new team, I'm a little bit suspicious because blockchain technology, one of the biggest drawbacks that's different from traditional technology is that once you deploy a smart contract, you can't change anything. So if they don't have that experience, if they are more experienced in web development where they can change every even few hours and do A/B testing, then that's not really good experience in blockchain. So I want to know that they have the experience in blockchain first. And then the second thing is about the vision. So it's all about community building and how they're going to leverage that community as well. Because for a blockchain project, they can't just silently work on a product. We know that's not working anymore. You have to be able to engage the community, build it up, and let them help you as well. So if the kind of team understands the power of a community, then I think that's the best way to go. So in terms of making videos, I made a lot of videos. So when I first started Boxmining, I made a promise to myself. It's a very personal project, and I said I'm gonna make at least one video a day. And it's been running for more than a year now. So I think I have around more than 400 videos right now. Sometimes I make 2 a day and just to update people. So it's about a lot of content, a lot of updating, because the blockchain space moves so fast. A day in blockchain is like a week in traditional finance, and I feel like that's the rate we need to put out videos and content at. So the future of Boxmining, I think, is all about my community. So we are trying to look together and maybe find a way to evaluate projects together as a team. This is something that I've always dreamed about doing, and it's something that was at the roots of this channel. Having a community contribute to your due diligence, to your research is much more powerful than just a few people. So that's my vision of building the Boxmining channel and the Boxmining community, is to have a way for everyone to contribute, everyone to have a say. So far we have started with a Telegram, we have a forum, but I want it to be a little bit more than that. So in the future, I want to have a collective way to research projects, to discuss projects, and have this different view scope to just broaden the vision for everything. So that's kind of my concept and vision for Boxmining in the future. So Boxmining, I wanted to be very unbiased for the longest time. So I've been offered a few advisory roles, but I haven't taken them. Recently though, there was a gaming project because my original background, I have a lot of gaming experience as well. I've been doing game design for a while. That was my kind of job prior to this. So I do have one advisory role right now, but we're gonna see how that goes and see how it works out. So I've been watching the blockchain space for a long time. So I started off with Bitcoin, then Ethereum, then we expanded and it grew to a much more vast space. So what my vision right now is that I don't think there's gonna be one blockchain to rule them all anymore. There's a lot of people still believing that one is gonna shine out. But what I see and I'm beginning to see now is that new projects are popping and they're offering slight advantages or slight kind of changes to the recipe. So not every project is suitable for one particular blockchain. So I can see this whole ecosystem of different blockchains forming. And we're already seeing something called interoperability, the ability to connect blockchains to each other. So my vision for the future of the blockchain space is that there's going to be multiple blockchains, each having kind of the area that they're very good at, something they're very good at solving. Whether it's like something like Ethereum, where it's about having and allowing developers to come up with their own scaffolds, or maybe EOS, where the scaffolds are built already there for them, or maybe VeChain, where they have a lot of enterprise focus. So everything has kind of its different niche, and then they'll be connected together to this mass web where they can kind of help each other and communicate with each other on the different systems. So in terms of every day, what would immediately change? I think it will become something about trust. So with Bitcoin itself, we'll learn about a new currency, a new way of transferring value, and that's the immediate kind of deliverable that blockchain technology has to offer. You can transfer like $1 million to somewhere, anywhere around the globe, and it's free. It's not free, but it's much cheaper than say something like a bank, and it takes much less time. So right now, for delivering large amount of value over borders, that's going to be fast. Then we have the decentralized applications, and there's a lot of kind of advantages that can be brought with supply chain management. This idea that you can trust a decentralized trust base to verify even something like simple as maybe a luxury handbag or a watch. We can verify with 100% certainty that this is real, and we can even trace the history of it, and we can trust in that because we know with blockchain technology that any alterations onto the blockchain has to be written. It can't just be altered and no one knows about it. The system has to have a history. So right now I'm based in Asia, and I found that blockchain is very global. So I try to visit as many different countries as possible to see what their scene is like. So this year I'm trying to choose conferences and events and gatherings that's all around the globe, and I want to see how this technology is touching people in every location. So in terms of finding me, you have to see what's happening, and you can probably check my website for that. So in terms of regulatory issues and regulation, I feel like this is a very new technology and it needs to be treated as such. I think one of the things I really keep to heart is that this is a blending of something that's very close to a community, so a community gathering, and also a product, and also a little bit resembling equity as well. So that's kind of what's inside every single cryptocurrency. So, and this is something that we've never seen before, and it's something like the Wall Street guys, they don't know how to evaluate. How do you even evaluate a community? I mean, when you use Facebook, you're just a consumer and Facebook gets all the benefit. But if you're using a decentralized social platform, well, you're part of that too. You get the benefit of this platform growing. So I feel like there needs to be special regulatory kind of systems in place. We can't just rely on what was classically there. We can't just say, oh, this is a security bam, let's put all the security regulations and all these laws on it. I think this is something very new, and governments need to really look at this, look at what's happening, and just kind of encourage that growth, because this is something we have never seen before.